Hold the line. Stay with me. Brothers, what we do in life echoes in eternity.
Strengthen on. Strengthen on.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Well, did you ever think we would learn so much this year? Of course, most of you knew this was all coming, but we had no idea what form it would occur. Doge, USAID exposed, illegals stealing billions from all of us, and so much more. The next step, next steps are in play, and we saw that in the intro from the White House. It has to be this way. The people have to see the fraud to wake up and leave the D party. And, man, do we have a lot still to uncover today leading into the new year. I want to thank you this year for helping us get to 500,000 followers on Rumble. They've been a huge support for us since YouTube kicked us off back in 2020, and it's been just an adventure ever since. I had a chance to meet with them in Florida here about 2-3 weeks ago, and it was an eye-opener to see what they're doing there, and just great support. We look forward to your hitting that like button and following. Also, we just want to let you know we still have the cruise available, Freedom Cruise 2026. Many are still signing up March 15th through 22nd. We're heading out from Fort Lauderdale to Puerto Rico. We're going to have a great time. Live Q&A sessions, folks. You're going to have a chance to have a meet and greet with us. Me, my family, and many others are going to be there. We look forward to having you there at amweknow.com. Check this out after all the Somali stuff was uncovered.
Hello, I'm HHS Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill. I'm here with Assistant Secretary Alex Adams. Alex oversees the Administration for Children and Families. Intrepid journalists have made shocking and credible allegations of extensive fraud in Minnesota's childcare programs. We believe the state of Minnesota has allowed scammers and fake daycares to siphon millions of taxpayer dollars over the past decade.
My office, ACF, provides Minnesota $185 million in child care funds each year. That money should be helping 19,000 American children, including toddlers and infants. Any dollar stolen by fraudsters is stolen from those children. Yesterday, I spoke directly with the director of the Minnesota Child Care Services Office. She could not tell me with confidence whether those allegations of fraud are isolated or whether there's fraud stretching statewide.
Today, we have taken 3 direct actions against the blatant fraud that seems to be rampant in Minnesota. First, I have activated our Defend the Spend system for all ACF child care payments across America. Starting today, we require a justification, receipt, or photo evidence before we make a payment. Second, I have just signed and sent a demand letter to Governor Walz. I required a full 360 review of these centers. This includes attendance records, licenses, complaints, investigations, and inspections.
And third, we've launched a dedicated fraud reporting hotline and email address at childcare.gov. Whether you're a parent, a provider, a member of the public, we want to hear from you. Let me be crystal clear. ACF expects every state to uphold the highest standards of oversight, monitoring, and accountability for federal dollars. Minnesota is no exception.
We're committed to holding bad actors accountable. Regardless of rank or office, anyone who's involved in perpetrating this fraud against the American people should expect to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
So all you have to do is find that email address, report any fraud that you see at childcare.gov. Whether you're a parent, provider, or a member of the general public, they want to hear from us. So, again, that money spigot is turned off. And we had to see it first before they turned it off. You know, imagine, folks, if they would have just said, hey, we're going to turn everything off. We're going to arrest everybody. We're not going to tell them exactly why. And then we're going to go out there after it's all done when people are screaming and yelling that we've all been arrested. For what? Oh, they seem like such nice people. Well, it's better if we see it first and then we're all screaming, hey, what's going to happen? We need to see this thing put to an end. Well, right here, we have a post from Sunshine Sunny. She says it's been going on since Clinton was in office, this fraud. It's a nationwide issue, and they made it impossible for at-home daycares to be ran in Minnesota. They didn't want children in wholesome environments that weren't teaching the children pronouns. Look at this video.
Hello, friends. Hey, this video is for Republicans, independent voters, and Democrats that want to see a better Minnesota. 25 years ago, the Star Tribune published a Sunday paper with this headline, that Somalis funnel millions to East Africa. In this article, investigators were concerned that some of that money found its way to warring terrorist factions. Now, fast forward 25 years to today. The only reason that we're getting prosecution is because federal prosecutors and federal investigators, not in-state investigators. And the only reason why this story is getting national news is because our local news is not covering it. In fact, the current Star Tribune general manager used to work for the Tim Walz administration. My friends, if we want something different coming out of St. Paul, we need to elect something different coming out of St. Paul. I'm Kendall Qualls, candidate for governor. I'm running to represent all Minnesotans on the Republican ballot in the November election. We don't want to be the generation that lost Minnesota. We're going to be the generation that saved it. And I want you to join me. And by the way, we're just warming up.
Just warming up. How about that? So instead of direct billing the state, parents in low-income households should get vouchers for daycare. That would solve the problem, wouldn't it? We should abolish giving tax money to NGOs. They get tax-exempt status, should be able to raise their own funds like Jerry Lewis begging on PBS or Sally Struthers begging for donations for the starving children. Charity should be a choice. And so, of course, this childcare fraud has been happening for going on 25 years. Now, there's more folks visiting these centers and exposing. So I want to show you some of this.
Today I'm showing you 161 Childcare in Columbus, Ohio. And as you can see, it does not look like a
Columbus, Ohio. Boy, it's starting to spread, huh?
childcare center at all. It is locked. Says it's open. There's a little desk right there, but the ceiling's all falling out and stuff like that. And if you come around back, you can see that this place is just a total dump. Literal just debris everywhere. Just a question, how do you enroll? How do you enroll your children here? You can't do that? No kids? So how can I enroll my children? It says you get public money through. You get public money through Ohio. You get money through the state of Ohio. This is a money that gets.
Yep. So heading to make millions, people are starting to say, hey, man, I'm driving to work. I'm working these long hours, getting paid by the hour. And you got these folks just flying in and saying, hey, I've got a way to make billions of dollars. And so they played it in different ways. So I'm going to show you how they've been able to bring their leaders in to destroy our country.
Zainab Mohammed, member of the Minnesota State Senate. Mohammed Noor, member of the Minnesota House of Representatives. Jamal Osman, member of the Minneapolis City Council. Nadia Mohammed, mayor of St. Louis Park, Minnesota. The first elected Somali American mayor in Minnesota and one of the first in the United States. Aisha Chuktai, vice president of the Minneapolis City Council. Ilhan Omar, U.S. House Representative. Omar Fateh, Minneapolis mayor candidate. Abdi Warsami, executive director of the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority. Hamse Warfa, Deputy Commissioner, Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. Fatia Firayare, Minneapolis Board of Education member. Suad Omar, City Council member, St. Louis Park, Minnesota. Mustafa Mohammed, School Board member, Bloomington, Minnesota. Hodan Hassan, former Minnesota State Representative. Farhio Khalif, activist and former candidate for Minneapolis City Council.
So they bring them in, they install the voters, so they can bring in the corrupt politicians. All installed for many to see. As a matter of fact, let's see. How unpopular are the Democrats? Joe Lang put this out. It's not that their approval rating is at 18%. It's also the extreme measures they have to go through in order to steal elections in supposedly safe blue states. Quote, fresh attention is being drawn to a Minnesota election policy that allows a registered voter to vouch for up to 8 people seeking same-day registration, unquote. Every registered voter in Minnesota can vouch for 8 other people on Election Day, which allows them to vote with no proof of citizenship or any other legal documentation. Quote, the scrutiny comes as the Walz administration confronts hundreds of millions of dollars lost to social services fraud tied to the state's Somali immigrant community. Critics pointed to a further wrinkle in Minnesota state law signed by Governor Tim Walz in 2023 that provided for driver's licenses for all, regardless of immigration status. The policy also stipulates that the licenses carry no markings indicating citizenship, even though such IDs are commonly used to register to vote. Under Minnesota law, a registered voter can vouch for up to 8 other voters. There you go. Tim Walz also gives driver's licenses to illegals, making it easier for them to vote, too. Minnesota's a red state. When the 2020 election fraud conspiracy is finally proven in court, our entire election system will get transformed. No more illegal votes, no more dead people voting, no more multiple votes, and no more votes from unregistered and unverified citizens. Game over. The Democrats are getting more and more desperate. The open border invasion under the Biden administration proved it. The Democrat Party is sitting around 18% approval rating. The worst evidence against them is yet to be revealed. Trump and the military are using a playbook that leads to prosecutions. We were told about it years ago from Q Drop 540, January 18, 2018. Are you following the news today? What a big news day. These people are really stupid. This will be the end of the D Party. This will be the path forward with public outrage to jail many so-called untouchables. You, the people, have the power. Down she goes. Q. Did you catch it? With public outrage. The people have the power. Transparency and prosecution. There is simply no other way. The Democrat Party will become toxic and no longer exist. Nobody will want to be associated with this corrupt party. TikTok. Boy, we got a lot more to unfold here in a moment. Folks, I'm feeling so much better now that I've visited Chad and Katie Brewer, and they gave me their Fortify 365 NAD+, a coenzyme found in every cell of your body. I'm telling you, sharper, stronger, and more energized. It fuels my brain function. I can tell. It boosts the energy, supports metabolism, helps my cells repair and regenerate. And I was just overwhelmed when I took this stuff. As we age and we face stress and illness, or addiction, NAD drops those levels, leaving us tired and foggy. Well, glutathione is the body's master antioxidant, so it's combined NAD plus glutathione. It detoxifies the liver and as a result supports the immune system and reduces inflammation and oxidative stress. So together, NAD plus and glutathione are powerful anti-aging combo. You can actually get this in the description box below. Click on the link in the description box, fortify365.com/AUK. Now let's listen into Congressman Andy Ogles.
When you look specifically at Somalia, where they're manipulating the system. So in 2018, there was $3 million in Medicaid claims for autism. Now you fast forward to 2023, after they were invaded by Somalis, and suddenly those claims for Medicaid for autism is almost $400 million, $399. So we know there's just hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud and abuse just in that one city. Now you add in Chicago, now you add in New York, now you add in every big city, blue city in America where they've been invaded by foreigners who are on and scamming the system. That's money taken away from you. Look, we still have 22 veterans a day that are killing themselves. That's money taken away from veterans. We have kids all across this nation who can't read at the 3rd grade level, not on grade level. That's money away from them. We've got to prioritize America first. Means Americans first. America first means American workers first. And so we've got to have those tough conversations. We've got to stop the H-1B visas. We need to pause all visas. We need to fix that system because we know it's broken. We know that it's being used against us, literally used against us.
Yeah, I was looking at these memes that folks are putting together. based on the things that they're seeing in Minnesota. They could probably use it for many other states probably soon. But there's people sitting there, for those listening, with 2 degrees at the dinner table. They've got 2 degrees. They've gone to college, and they're doing everything they can to make ends meet. And they've got this cartoon where Mickey Mouse is basically slicing bread in a very, very thin slice where you can see through the bread, and he places this on Pluto's plate and on Donald Duck's plate. And they're just, they're looking at it like, wow, we hardly have anything anymore. Well, that's playing out. The Somalians are opening daycares in Minnesota, and they're just laughing and having a blast and rolling in the dough. Sound familiar? What else has been unveiled?
I'm going to give you a short example on how they're funneling this money. This is Muhammad Eagle. He is a city council member in Seattle, Washington. Okay? He is getting multiple campaign contributions from the state of Minnesota. And look at the occupation of these contributors. Childcare center, $1,000, $1,000, $500. It's all a freaking scam, folks. And this is just digging in 2 states, Minnesota and Washington. We haven't even scratched the surface of California yet.
It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. President Trump, you know, we're going to bring back this reminder of what he said when he was asked about the Somalis. Check this out.
Mr. President, thank you. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also saying.
I wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Waltz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with, go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country, and without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon. I hope. But what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable.
Not even believable. So if we think nothing is actually going to play out, well, I think this playbook is exactly what they were using, going one at a time, right? Why didn't they just give us Doge, USAID, all of this fraud in Minnesota and the Somalis throughout the United States? Why didn't they just give it to us all at once? Well, it has to be one at a time so that we're able to absorb it, understand it, and then they've got everything lined up so they can go after these folks and start getting them out.
Tricia McLaughlin says there's more to come, and she joins us tonight. All right, Tricia, thank you so much. What are the agents looking for, and what have they found so far?
Jason, thank you so much for having me. As we speak, our Homeland Security investigators, hundreds are on the ground. They're knocking doors. They're going to local businesses. They're going to these sites where we believe that there is rampant fraud, whether it be daycare centers, healthcare centers, or other organizations that take taxpayer dollars. Our Homeland Security investigators on the ground are also seeing that these suspected perpetrators are really trying to cover their tracks. They're trying to whitewash the operational facts on the ground, purporting to be a legitimate business, have legitimate business operations, when it's all a fugazi. So we're going to continue to ask those questions. We're learning more and more, especially with the FBI and our DOJ partners on the ground.
Well, a lot of this comes through Health and Human Services. And look, I understand that the assistant, whatever title he was, said, oh, they're taking immediate action. But to be honest with you, Tricia, this has been going on for years. To say they've taken immediate action, that probably should have happened a year ago. This doesn't flow through Homeland Security. It flows through Health and Human Services. But ultimately, it is the responsibility of the governor and the state of Minnesota. But to say they took immediate actions, with all due respect, these reports go back almost 10 years.
No, you're absolutely right, Jason. Either they're culpable or they bury their head in the sand. But fortunately, President Trump, Secretary Noem, and the entire administration, this is an all-hands-on-deck operation. You saw HHS freezing that funding, SBA freezing that funding, FBI's on the ground. We've surged hundreds of officers from Homeland Security investigations. But if you rewind even a month, we saw that this problem was happening. We've arrested more than 500 criminal illegal aliens off of the streets of Minneapolis alone. We have a wide-scale investigation into immigration fraud with our USCIS partners. So the Trump administration is not resting on our laurels. We will get answers and accountability for the American people.
Yeah. So they're doing it. They're unveiling it one at a time. You know, you'd wonder why Waltz would say something like this. Remember the old debate? It's almost like they prep this whole thing and says, hey, we need you to talk about this that way when the time comes. It'll all be exposed. Let's remember what Walt said.
How you become a pro-business state. And so a paid family medical leave program, and I will tell you, go to the families or go to the businesses and ask them. As far as childcare on this, you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. You can't expect the most important people in our lives to take either our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this. We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this. A federal program of paid family medical leave and help with this will enhance our workforce, enhance our families, and make it easier to have the children that you want.
Oh, they put out the whole scam for the world to see. They import these folks, and they bring in what they need the most on the Democrat side as voters, because that's the only way they can win. They have to cheat.
I guess the biggest single thing is that there are massive transfer payments going to illegal immigrants, like massive. Essentially, we're paying people to come here from somewhere else. In vast numbers, including flying them in. So, like, it's not like you need a border wall if you're flying them in. Then fast tracking them to citizenship and making them beholden to government payments, and voting hard left. That's essentially it's like voter importation. If you create a gigantic money magnet to, you say, if anyone comes here from anywhere else, we're going to pay you tons of money, give you lots of free stuff. Come to America and get paid to do so. Like, you're going to get a lot of people taking up on that offer. And people say, like, this is fake. I'm like, actually. Well, let's look at, Ilhan Omar, who was voted into Congress by, a large group of people from Somalia who are in Minnesota, which is really far from Somalia. Or Mamdani, who was voted to be mayor, but by a majority of people who are not born in America. That's my understanding, at least. And then California is a big time situation. So I don't know. We just don't want to turn into a communist hellhole, basically.
That's what's going to play out, and this information again going out one day at a time. Of course, you go over to Communist News Network, and you've got to get this the word out somehow. I don't know how Scott Jennings does. He enters this lion's den, and he always gets through with great info.
That nothing is being done, that no one is being held accountable, that this was just let to run rampant is completely false.
Well, some people have been held accountable, but I think in the opinion of most Republicans, not nearly enough. And truthfully, until somebody in a position of power, until somebody in a position in Minnesota, elected position, who was in charge of administering this or having some oversight over it goes to jail, it's honestly never going to stop. Look what's going on in blue states across the country. $9 billion in Minnesota, $70 billion in fraud in California, cooking the crime stats in Washington, D.C. When is someone in a position of power going to go to jail for the rampant
hold on
fraud?
a second.
What I am telling you, though, is in the case of these states and locales, this is public money, taxpayer money.
Sure.
People get elected. They're supposed to run these
DOJ
programs.
is doing their job every single day.
About
and they
Tim
are,
Walz, the Medicaid program is run by the
DOJ
state.
is prosecuting
and he bragged about putting more money into this daycare
public funds
system that is obviously rife with
the
fraud.
time.
Of course, she's trying to cut him off because they're not allowed to let him get the information out that needs to get out. And so I'm going to show you that Scotty Marr actually had the same video play out. And then we have tons of information that he put out in a video. Great info. And I'm going to give you that in a moment.
You know, we had a great interview the other day for these Wave watches. The power of frequency. I've learned so much about it. And I wanted to let you know, it's in the description box below, the Wave watch. Improve your health with sound frequencies. And I couldn't believe it at first, but it's actually been working. Here's a soundbite from Linda Bamber Olson, Wave watch inventor.
Because we're not doing that. We went more the direction of pills. And so that's why people have a little harder time realizing that their body can absorb frequencies through their skin and their bones. They don't have to hear it. So that was so important for me to be able to do that because I'm a deaf person. I'm completely deaf in one ear, and I've had trouble with hearing my whole life. And so I wanted a tool that I could use, you know, that I didn't have to hear.
Oh, wow. Wow. I know a lot. Yeah, so many folks. You know, I met her on the cruise, and I tell you what, we had several folks that had the watch on, and we were testing them out. My back started feeling much better. My best friend actually put it on, had a hard time bowling. His left knee was in a lot of pain. And next thing you know, he was bowling. He bowled 4 games. He said, I could go 10 more. He couldn't even believe it. He normally wraps everything up. He wraps his hand up and more. And he's like, what's going on? This thing is absolutely amazing. They have them in special colors like rose gold, also graphite. They improve your sleep, reduce stress, fight pain. They boost energy. And they are beautiful watches also. So when you use them, you can change to so many different frequencies for your brain health, for your pain, for sleep, and so much more. I encourage you to go check it out, folks. In the description box below. Go check it out. You will be absolutely amazed and reclaim your peace.
Okay, we're back. Scotty Marr put this together, showing different folks on X and others. Clandestine, the first one. Why do you think Trump signed an executive order instructing Hegseth to build a quick reaction force for every state National Guard trained in crowd control? This is quote, trained in crowd control and civil disturbance that can be ready to deploy to U.S. cities by, you ready? January 1st. That's tomorrow. Trump is preparing for arrests and the public backlash that will come from the arrest of high-profile individuals. Trump is using the U.S. military to secure the nation before he drops the hammer. The deadline for these troops to be ready for deployment is the 1st. Remember that. Also, protests erupt across Iran over country's currencies plunge to record low. This is John Solomon reports. Watch Iran, says Ripcord. Watch Iran. Something incredible is about to happen. The good people of Iran have the power. Fight for your freedom. Bitcoin news. The head of Iran's central bank, Mohammad Reza Farzin, resigned Monday as protests broke out in Tehran following a sharp collapse in the national currency. Iran's rial hit a record low of 1.42 million per US dollar on Sunday. Silver trade. John Rich is now tweeting about silver. Buy and hold silver till the big banks die. Upend the system, end the Fed, and kill the fiat currency. Big things happening. Silver is now becoming a movement. Buy and hold silver till the big banks die. And folks, you can get silver from us at amweknow.com/gold. You know that. I talk about it quite a bit. And silver has shot up another 10% yesterday. I'm telling you, you got to get it now. It is absolutely amazing where it's going. President Trump warns that many surprises may be coming in the next 48 hours. What could these surprises be? And then clandestine, it's not just the Somalis in Minnesota. The Dems opened up our nation to anyone who would come here and vote for them in exchange for our tax dollars. They use shell companies to funnel public money to the immigrants, meaning we are slaves that fund the people replacing us. This is why the Dems so desperately don't want voter ID, because they are wittingly engaged in a scheme to let illegals vote, which allows them to stay in power, which allows them to continue to steal our tax dollars. It's all one giant racket, and we, the people, are the suckers. There's that screen, no photo ID. They always win. The Democrats when they have no photo ID. And then you have this from clandestine for all the morons squealing about when the arrests are coming. I've been telling you for years, the arrest of high-profile individuals will cause massive public backlash, and the U.S. military National Guard must be in position as a standing deterrent. The public must also be informed as to why these high-profile individuals are being arrested before they are arrested. We can't just arrest Obama without the public being thoroughly downloaded on the situation, because it would cause mass chaos, civilian casualties, and perhaps a breakdown of society. Public perception must be accounted for, and that process has been underway for quite some time. In addition, the National Guard will have 500 plus rapid response units for every state on standby beginning January 1st. Trump's about to invoke the Insurrection Act to send active duty U.S. military to cities nationwide. The public must be safeguarded, and that's already underway. There are many pieces that have to be in place before Trump can drop the final hammer, and the timeline doesn't give a, you know what, if you're feeling impatient. Yeah. Then we had this from Nick Shirley, who was on the Triggered show.
The accountability we want to see happen with this is we do want to see people actually be held criminally for what they've committed. Mm-hmm. If you stole $10 million, you'd be in jail. If I stole $10 million, I'd be in jail. So therefore, if Tim Walz is accountable for, let's just say, even $1 million of this fraud, whether he has to spend 10 days in a prison cell or however many years a judge finds him guilty for, that's what he should have to do. And same with all the other fraudsters and all the other corrupt politicians who allowed this to happen. It's time to take it serious, and this is such a pivotal moment for the current administration to really show, okay, we're holding people accountable for what they've done.
Yeah, I saw Cash put out a thing on it. They've been looking into this for months. And I guess the thing is this: there's not just the people at the daycare centers or the people taking that check. Where's the money going? Where's the other funding? I mean, this is complicated stuff to track down, because you really can't just take out the one daycare center or the 50 or the 100 that are there. You got to see where all this other stuff is going, so you can uncover what is probably a much larger, corruption case than even what you've discovered, which is, again, billions of dollars, in my opinion, probably at least. But it seems like it's going so much further than that. And, it all probably ties back to some sort of Democrat fundraising apparatus where these businesses are then making sure that they're electing the people and the Democrats so they can keep perpetuating these fraudulent policies. And it's just a never ending vicious cycle.
Yeah, it is a never ending vicious cycle. But I think if they do go after the person who's most accountable for this and who has even said that organized crime, he's even admitted to organized crime, and Tim Walz has, before the fraud. So he's known about this fraud for a long time. So if they go after him and then continue to go after everybody else, then you'll see massive change and you'll see real accountability be held.
Yeah, no, it's nuts.
Who controls the National Guard? Why was the National Guard recently activated in select cities? Can the National Guard work in coordination with the Marines? Do conditions need to be satisfied to authorize? What former president used the military to save the republic, and what occurred exactly? We have shown you this over and over again, with Dan Scavino posting that 22-second video of popcorn. 22 is exactly what I just read on the cue board. Yeah. Enjoying every second of it. Previews are over. And everybody is saying, showtime. Kind of a reminder there. Is there a statute of limitations for treason? Fletch 17 says, asks us thoughts. No, there is no statute of limitations for treason in the United States. Treason is defined under federal law in 18 U.S.C. 2381 as levying war against the United States or adhering to its enemies, giving them aid and comfort. It is punishable by death. Mark my words, says Paul Florent. The hammer drops in 2026. Everything is being exposed, ultimately by God. I can't recall a single time in my 30 years down the rabbit hole that I have ever seen the deep state Satanists so thoroughly exposed. The veil has been lifted. I trust President Trump, but more than him, I trust God. God has unveiled the evil surrounding so it can be dealt with. Y'all remember that time that Pharaoh literally kept mocking God and tempting him and challenging him? How did that work out for Pharaoh? An army of frogs to destroy them. It is going to be biblical. Y'all be loud, demand accountability, continue to fight and stand strong in your truth, faith, and conviction. If we do these things, we simply will not lose. Don't forget, God's already won. 1 Peter 3:14, but even if you should suffer for the sake of righteousness, you are blessed, and do not fear their intimidation, and do not be in dread.
Step 1. The National Guard gets federalized. That means they're no longer just state units. They're nationwide. Boots on the ground, locking down hot zones, securing the country. Step 2. Military law kicks in. Under the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice, treason, sedition, aiding the enemy. Those aren't small crimes. That's life in prison or worse, and it's not handled by your local judge. It's handled in a military court. Step 3. Military commissions. When politicians, corporate heads, or media giants sell out their nation, you can't let their buddies in civilian courts try them. Military commissions exist for that exact reason. Swift, decisive, no games. Step 4. Federal law. Treason, sedition, conspiracy, overthrow. It's all on the books. The evidence is there. The statutes are there. And indictments will follow. Step 5. Asset seizure. Treason doesn't just cost freedom. It costs fortunes, properties, accounts, entire empires tied to corruption, seized. And step 6, the people. None of this happens without us. Every post, every video, every word of truth forced the lies into the light. That's why the reckoning is here. This isn't about survival anymore. This is about justice.
It's about justice. And you know what's very interesting, folks? The National Guard arrived in the French Quarter as immigration operations spin up in New Orleans. New Orleans will soon be liberated, says Nick Sordor. We're taking our cities back. Wow. National Guard. Making moves. All kinds of corruption being exposed day after day.
My entire FYP today has been Nick Shirley, Somalis, and daycare fraud in Minnesota. And now it's starting to slowly transition to Ohio and similar fraud. And I keep commenting in comment sections, but I'm just going to make a video now that this similar fraud happens here in Massachusetts. I used to work for early intervention, and when I had an appointment to service a child who went to a daycare that received vouchers, I was never let in 100% of the time. Never let in. I was either not let in or no one would come to the door. And then, since I didn't service that child, I did not get paid for my time because early intervention is part of the Department of Public Health. And there was one time when someone from a daycare that received vouchers did actually come to the door, and they told me that the child wasn't there. So then I had to contact the parent, and the parent assured me that they dropped their child off that morning, but I wasn't let in. So similar fraud happens probably across the country, but I know for a fact from working for early intervention that it does happen in Massachusetts as well.
Massachusetts. One state after another. Saw this too. More troubling news out of Minnesota. The FDA shut down Minneapolis food warehouse after inspectors discovered rat feces, bird droppings, and urine throughout product storage. Yeah. Gold Star Distribution is what it's called. A major Minnesota wholesaler supplying dozens of grocery stores statewide has been exposed by federal inspectors for operating in severe ongoing sanitary violations. The inspection reports describe rodent feces and urine throughout the facility, bird droppings directly on pallets and packaging, contaminated storage areas holding everyday items like peanut butter, snacks, over-the-counter medications, hygiene products, and pet food. It wasn't a one-time lapse. The same warehouse was cited back in 2018 for significant rodent activity, and it stayed open anyway. This is from Jake. Now, nearly 2,000 products are under recall due to the salmonella and these risk illnesses that can seriously harm children, seniors, and immune-compromised people. So let's get to the list that this guy reads out of the companies and the products that have been hit. Here we go.
Dayquil cold and flu, Tylenol cold and flu, Tylenol PM, Excedrin, Motrin, Alka-Seltzer, Benadryl, Advil ibuprofen tablets, and Advil PM. And also includes Jif Crunchy Peanut Butter, Pringles products, Quaker Cornmeal, Haribo Gold Gummy Bears and Peach Rings, Extra Gum products, Gatorade products, Skittles, Gillette razors, Trojan condom, Colgate toothpaste, and Tampax tampons, Tampon Tem style. Now here's an image of the Gold Star distribution facility in Minneapolis. Guess it wasn't really Gold Star standard.
It wasn't Gold Star standard at all. Who failed to enforce the basic food safety standards? Why does it take a federal shutdown for action to finally happen? Food safety shouldn't be controversial. Accountability shouldn't be optional. Consumers check the FDA's official recall list and discard the affected products. Whew. I know most of us are going to be running, probably paused and said, I'm running to find these products now. News Treason Channel 17 said it's truly amazing how one intrepid sweatshirt-wielding reporter has triggered a national conversation on Somali daycare across multiple states in just 72 hours. Already, we've seen reports out of Minnesota, Maine, California, Ohio, and now the latest in Washington State, where there are exactly 539 childcare centers in Washington that list Somali as the primary language. Well, interesting, because 539, 5 plus 3 plus 9 equals 17. You're not watching Discovery. You're witnessing the DECLAS of information. Julie Donut said, in case you missed it, no statute of limitations. This is from the AAG, Harmeet Dillon. Trump Bondi DOJ is working to bring to justice those who weaponized January 6, 2021. No statute of limitations will hinder DOJ's efforts to bring justice to those who weaponized persecution of American citizens. January 6, 2026 is not a deadline for DOJ to bring prosecutions. Don't forget it, folks. That's important information to get out. Trump admin's also suing Virginia for giving in-state tuition to illegal immigrants while Americans pay full price. It's official. Trump admin's taken the state of Virginia to court, filing a lawsuit to block the University of Virginia from offering in-state tuition. So this is from Mario Naufel. The argument, you can't reward illegal entry into the country with discounted college tuition, while American citizens from other states are getting financially wrecked just to attend the same university. The lawsuit says Virginia is violating federal immigration law by extending in-state rates funded by Virginia taxpayers to people not even legally allowed to be in the country. Make it make sense. If Trump wins this case, it could blow a hole through the entire left-wing playbook of sneaking illegal immigrants into taxpayer-funded parks, from tuition to healthcare to housing, while citizens drown in student debt. Virginia thought it'd be a great idea to give illegal aliens a tuition discount. This lawsuit's direct challenge to that logic and a bold shot across the bow of every other blue state doing the same thing. Well, speaking of shots across the bow, the Pentagon just released a video showing a joint operation between the DOW, the DHS, and DOJ to seize a sanctioned vessel linked to Venezuela. The Trump admin is going after them hard. Operation Southern Spear seems to be intensifying. Folks, we need to buckle up. I think these videos are pretty amazing if you're listening in. If these folks had gone through severe training bringing these helicopters in, those guys I see them all the time throughout the years practicing this, but boy, they must be in awe that they finally get to do something in real time. To enter these ships and finally take these people down. We've had enough. Also playing out, Julie Donuts reminds us the vaccine lie collapses. The people cried for a champion and God sent us one. The truth cannot be hidden any longer. As of December 28, 2025, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., standing as Secretary of Health and Human Services under President Trump, has ripped the veil off decades of deception. None of the vaccines are safe. None are effective. Big Pharma's empire of lies is crumbling and the world is watching. For years, they shoved the mantra safe and effective down our throats, forcing vaccines on children while lining their pockets with billions. RFK Jr.'s calling for what it is, a criminal experiment. Neurological damage in babies, autism linked to toxic aluminum, autoimmune diseases skyrocketing, infertility exploding, blood clots, myocarditis destroying young hearts. This is not medicine. It's mass poisoning. The CDC, the FDA, and the deep state colluded to suppress data, silence whistleblowers, and protect pharmaceutical profits. But the people are waking up. Parents are refusing the shots. Doctors are questioning the schedule. States are dismantling mandates. The vaccine industrial complex is unraveling. The countdown to zero has begun. With RFK Jr. leading the charge from inside the system, subpoenas are coming, investigations are launching. Those who profited from this poison will finally face justice. Pfizer, Moderna, their stocks are crashing. Their house of cards is failing. RFK Jr. said, we'll dismantle the capture of our health agencies. We will hold accountable those who profited from poison. We will restore trust through truth. This earthly plan to depopulate and control through forced injection, this is failing spectacularly. Truth is healing our nation. What to do now? Say no to forced injections, protect your family, spread the truth, red pill everyone, demand toxin-free policies and real science, support whistleblowers exposing corruption, stand with RFK Jr., our warrior for public health. The storm has arrived. Big Pharma's judgment day is here. Hold the line. Becca Joyce puts that out. Here's more truth.
America's gold was supposed to back the dollar. Leaving the gold standard was the most costly mistake we ever made.
What was so bad about gold?
It kept them honest, but they wanted power. You know, kid, folks today think this is just how life's supposed to be.
What do you mean?
Back in my day, one job could feed a family. My mother stayed home, father worked, and we ate together every night. Didn't realize how good we had it. After the World War, they promised gold-backed dollars, but they broke that promise. They printed paper backed by nothing, funded wars we couldn't afford and shouldn't have been involved in. But France caught on and sent a warship to get back their gold. Truth is, if more countries followed, our vaults would be empty and game over.
I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold.
Turns out, when you fake the money, everything else follows, and you screw the next generation over. And it snowballs, kid. Prices shot up, paychecks didn't, life got tougher, and nobody knew why. We tried raising our kids the old way, but we didn't have the time or the money.
So you outsourced parenting?
Yeah, I guess you could say we did. Government schools raised them, and the TV taught them bad morals. They learned debt, not savings. Bought houses they couldn't afford. Played video games. Gambling, antidepressants, and crimes. Families fractured. Divorce rates doubled. Birth rates plummeted. Things got so bad, people started financing Chipotle.
Financing a burrito?
Yeah, it's getting bad. Obesity, people eating cheap slop instead of real food. We got softer, sicker, and lazier. A nation in decline. But it didn't happen overnight. When Nixon left the gold standard, we traded sound money for a lifetime of debt.
How will they ever pay it back?
I don't think they plan to. Both sides keep spending like there's no tomorrow and leaving the bill to your generation. We didn't get it right, but you've still got a chance. So, take the reins, kid. Hold your ground and don't give up on sound money.
It's amazing, these videos that have been put out for the public to see. Check this one out.
I'm going to blow your mind with some facts about money real quick. This is $1.25. This is minimum wage in the 1960s, but you'll notice something special about these quarters. They are all made of silver. This is what you would expect to get. Now,
so we're looking at quarters for those listening that didn't catch that. There's 5 quarters in this video. Okay.
What is the current modern day 2025 equivalent of this? Well, one of these quarters is worth about $14, which means $70 per hour is the equivalent of 5 silver quarters. This is what a man would make in the 1960s, the bare minimum, which means if a man worked all day, he would make $560, which means if a man works 8 hours a week for 5 days a week, that's $2,800 at the end of the week. Do that for 52 weeks, that's $145,000 bare minimum. Minimum wage today is only $7.25 an hour. That means half of a silver quarter. Now, most men today make more than minimum wage. They make more than half a silver quarter an hour, but most men do not make 5 silver quarters in an hour. That is not going to happen. That's the equivalent of $70 an hour. That is not the world we live in. The dollar does not have the value and the spending power that it used to. Politicians for decades, for our entire lives, have been devaluing the dollar each and every election cycle. They spend and spend and spend. They're more focused with appeasing voters and getting reelected than they are than putting the power back into this quarter right here.
That's right. So, speaking of silver, if you guys didn't catch it, went up another 10%, $78 per ounce. But there's $125 plus silver, according to Bark. Silver's trading at $125 an ounce in China due to the upcoming export ban on January 1st. That's $50 above spot price. The supply shock is here. Everyone knows what happens next. And of course, like I said earlier, you can head over to Dr. Kirk Elliott and watch our videos, folks, on my Rumble channel or others. And you can catch our interview. And I tell you what, this big demand for silver is going to be hitting hard, especially with these EV manufacturers. And it's going to drive the price up even higher, especially when the 401ks hit in the new year in February, when you can bring precious metals to your 401ks, thanks to President Trump.
It's time to admit we're all being played. As a business owner and employee, I start my day at 4 a.m., preparing for a 10, 12, 14-hour day to take on all the risks, figure out how to build my operation, how to reinvest in my company, to make sure every one of my employees has a secure and stable job to provide for themselves and their families. Nowhere during this process is the government present. I don't see the government when I'm working late, solving problems, making sure my customers are taken care of. I don't see them when revenue is slow or when expenses are piling up. Yet the moment income is generated, they show up twice a month, taking half of the currency we made. We're the ones trading our time, our labor, bringing our shine, only to be strong-armed into giving up half of what we've earned. Something that should go entirely to our families. This goes on throughout the year, us being responsible for keeping records of every cent we've earned. And at the end of the year, it's my responsibility to prepare all the documentation for them to review. They then determine if their cut was large enough. If I don't meet their schedule, I face fines, fees, the threat of being thrown in one of their cells, on top of losing everything I've earned. We've been conditioned to accept this as taxation, but this doesn't fit my definition.
We're had enough. End the federal income tax. Folks are putting their videos out on TikTok and other places to say we've had enough. All of this fraud that has been caught, Waltz, Minnesota, other states now, all the actions that are being taken, I think, have been lined up already according to the plan to declass and unveil this to the public. Our neighbors are starting to realize something strange is going on, and they're departing the Democrat Party like crazy. Prayers are being answered. Lives are being changed. Let's pray into the new year.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you again for an amazing year put together in such a brilliant fashion from imperfect humans that I believe have been guided by you, by the Holy Spirit, to unveil the truth out to so many people who have been lied to and manipulated and twisted for so long. We still have friends and neighbors who don't understand, who are starting to realize just how bad things have gotten. We also have friends and family members who refuse to listen. We're not sure exactly what it's going to take to wake them up, but we know that you can do it. You have your ways that are absolutely perfect, and we just bow before you and your throne, realizing you're worthy of our praise. All honor and all glory goes to you, and we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who you sent to this earth, who died for us, rose again after 3 days, and our sins have been washed away when we turn to him. Just look and live. My brother, live. Look to Jesus Christ and live. We bring this new year in, January 2026, seems to move so quickly, and we certainly hope that those fraudsters, those criminals will be taken down quickly. Our nation will be restored, and we'll start watching our younger generations finally realize what it's like to be an American in the true and wonderful way that you put this country together. We ask for continued protection over President Trump, over those in leadership, guiding and directing so many against this evil. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen and amen. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love, your emails, and your comments. So valuable for all of us and our team. What an amazing year it has been. We look forward to so much more, especially with our cruise coming up in March. Looking forward to meeting many of you and also getting this information out as much as we can. For now, this is LT Semper Fi with Them We Know, signing out.
What we do in life echoes in eternity. Strengthen on, strengthen on. At my signal, unleash hell.